Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is an old article. I'm going to read it on my tablet. Give me just a second here, guys. It's called The Unperson. By Robert Farley, published June 25th, 2006, updated January 28th, 2009. Religions have always penalized those who betray the cause. Also agendas. Catholics excommunicate, barring the wayward from church rites. The Amish, Jehovah's Witnesses, and some Orthodox Jewish sects shun their nonconformists. Bow down, slave. That's what they're telling you. In Tampa Bay area's burgeoning Scientology community, members abide by a policy considered by some religious experts extreme. Scientologists declare they're outcasts, suppressive persons. Another Scientology policy called disconnection forbids Scientologists from interacting with a suppressive person, no calls, no letters, no contact. They also go through everyone's letters and calls. They're always there. An SP is a pariah. Anyone who communicates with an SP risks being branded an SP himself, except if a person's raw meat and they're trying to get you into the cult. Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, also convicted felon, also a man who believes kissing a 7-year-old girl is fine, wrote the policies 4 decades ago. Church leaders say not as a tool to oust members, but to provide those going astray with a mechanism to return to the church's good graces. That aligns with Scientology's tenets. Oh, they work so hard to make it sound like a church. It's funny. Of improving communication, strengthening relationships. Does that include when grown-ass men want to essay little girls or little boys? Inquiring minds want to know. But SPs who have felt the sting and other church critics say the suppressive person policy is a sledgehammer to keep marginal members in line and in the flock. You see that, all that church talk? What a joke. Whatever Scientology's motivation, its suppressive person policy results in retching pain. We need to read that suppressive person policy. Say a dozen SPs interviewed by the St. Petersburg Times. Some have gone years without seeing or talking with sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, all of whom abide, there's that word again, by Scientology's no contact requirement. For a Scientologist thinking of forsaking the church, like, doesn't that sound like a Jesus quote? Do not forsake me. The decision is grueling, stay in, or risk being ostracized from loved ones and friends. If left, Caroline Brown in Cincinnati, weeping at the sight of a basketball court. Like so many Scientologists, Caroline and her family came to Clearwater in 1991 to escape the WOG, which is a racist term, by the way, and everybody's just super fine with that. A non-Scientology world. By 1998, she was divorced and living with her teenage daughter, Darby Zakali, Her ex-husband and son lived together just a few miles away. Caroline was unhappy, depressed. Her drinking strained her relationship with Darby. I personally always read this stuff with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Are they trying to make themselves look good? You just don't know. Mother and daughter agreed Caroline could give her new life purpose by taking a Scientology job in Ohio. As a church staffer, her Scientology counseling would be free. Conveniently, they don't say her age. You see? They're showing that the daughter, who's a minor, is going to be a staffer. Which is illegal, by the way. It's illegal. Darby, okay, never mind. They're just going to make it sound perfect. Darby, who just turned 18. I don't buy it. Stayed in Clearwater in her own apartment. They're trying to cover. But the counseling in Cincinnati didn't help. Caroline said, depressed and having anxiety attacks. She was flat broke and crying herself to sleep. Vulnerable. Walking past a basketball court one day, she burst into tears. Her son played basketball. What was she doing in Cincinnati, working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, 1,000 miles away from her son and daughter? So I'm just going to add in there, I know I'm kind of harsh, but now all of a sudden when your son is, what is her son? Oh, they're conveniently leaving out the ages. Now all of a sudden you've got like it's bothering you. Now all of a sudden you're ethical. And this is where I got an issue. Caroline decided to bolt. Mind you guys, both of her children were still in Scientology, whereas Natalie Webster wasn't playing that freaking game. She made sure everyone was in alignment. This is why I got an issue. Just like Rinder left his family and some of these other people just left their family. I don't like that. Caroline decided to bolt from Cincinnati and away from Scientology, even though she knew she almost certainly would be declared a suppressive person. She knew that. So she says. You know, I think a lot of these people are agents. Hers was an unauthorized departure akin to going AWOL, to leave church service in good standing. Oh, church, right? What a joke. Scientology staffers must complete sec checks. By the way, that includes children. Just so you guys know, because staff members are children as well. You know, child. Hers was an unauthorized departure akin to going AWOL. Yeah, in the fake military. To leave church service in good standing. Have we heard it's a church enough, you guys? Maybe they should tell us it's a church again. Scientology staffers must complete sec checks, including children. Short for security checks. They are like confessionals. Yeah, that's a blackmail material. Scientologists spell out transgressions to feel better about them. Kind of like confession in church, like a real church. And take responsibility for them. That would be the overts and withholds that they make the 5-year-olds tell, you know. Clearwater Church. Oh, guess what, you guys? It's a church. They've already told us 10 times, which is grammatically not correct, to keep repeating the same word. But in mind control it is. Spokesman Ben Shaw said, it is one of the most invigorating experiences you can imagine. They're talking about auditing. The process can take months. Fellow church, and it costs them thousands and thousands of dollars. Just so we get that church crap straight. Fellow church staffers. Okay, now every time I see church, I'm going to stress it just to be a smart aleck. Fellow church staffers pose questions to the outgoing members seeking to discover crimes deemed to be the source of suppressive acts. That reminds me when I think Tori Magoo was leaving, and they got that on video in the airport. What crimes are you guilty of? That lady looked cray-cray. Questions include whether an SP has made statements against Scientology to friends or to the media, but the sec checks can be extremely personal. Oh, especially when you got like a 5 or 6-year-old girl that was SA'd. Oh, those sec checks are rough. When that little girl just got SA'd by a grown-ass man. According to church documents obtained by the Times, questions can probe possible drug use history of theft or non-payment of taxes. Great blackmail material. Or ask about the M word or homosexuality. To children too. Let's just so nobody, has any kind of questions. A staffer who leaves without routing out, including children, through sec checks violates a signed church contract, Shaw said, and likely will be declared an SP. That includes children, you guys, just so we're clear on that. Like Kelly Copter, she got declared at 6. Isn't that great? That's what happened to Caroline after she returned to Clearwater. See, she should have got her kids first. That's where I got an issue with that. Because she doesn't have any psychosis that I can see. The Scientology community turned its back. Of course they did. Fake friends. She bumped into an old Scientology friend at a dollar store. Without so much as a hello, the woman said, "Go handle it. You go fix it. Handle it." That's why, you guys, a lot of these MNFers are going to get what they deserve. I really mean that. Unless you make it, you really make it right. Not Scientology right, unless you really make it, right. Darby wrote her mother a disconnection letter. Of course she did. Because you left her there by herself. And helped her brother then 14. Oh, her brother was 14. Well, way to go, Mom. Way to go to leave your 14-year-old son and your allegedly 18-year-old daughter conveniently by themselves. That's great. The letters are clear. Until you get back on good terms with Scientology, Mom, we're disconnecting. Whereas Lori Hodgson, I understand her story a little more. Darby says her decision to disconnect from her mother, it wasn't a decision. Let's get that all straightened out, Tampa Bay Times. To disconnect from her mother had nothing to do with Scientology, lies. She says her mother doesn't need to become a Scientologist again for them to have a relationship, lies. But she needs to do the sec checks and remove the SP label. Just like that A&E course crap they were trying to get Lori Hodgson to do. Out of her pocket, of course. The worst pyramid scheme ever. Her message for her mother, all you have to do is fix it. You remember that was the same thing that Lori Hodgson's children were telling her. I understand her story a little more. Her message to her mother, all you have to do is fix it. So you do it. It's not that horrible. Allegedly, she's 18 when she says this, right? Now 23, Darby is a Pilates instructor and a service broker for her boyfriend's telecom company. She took her first Scientology class when her mother was in Cincinnati. Every time I used it, my life got better, she said. Of course! There's the propaganda. I'm not going to give that up for someone who created so much pain. She also brought you into this world. So you need to freaking get that straightened out in your little head. Her mother knew the consequences of walking away. It's more like she disconnected from me, Darby said. You see, they're just using these women as, it reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale. I couldn't even watch that show. I watched it a little bit. It was so dark, but it's very similar. Brave new world, man. When Caroline got her son's disconnection letter, yeah, the one who was 14 years old. She called a lawyer. Her parental rights trumped Scientology's disconnection doctrine. She and the boy met at Cody's Roadhouse in Clearwater. The boy? You mean her son? She and the boy, you mean the son, right? You guys see what they do? They're trying to make it sound like there's no connection. You mean she and her son. Son. S-O-N. Son. I love you more than any other human being on the planet, she told her son. He lit up, she said. She now sees him regularly, but not Darby. Well, that's good. My heart is still broken about not having my family. Well, you should have thought of that before you left, though, honestly. I'm sorry. Caroline said, I'm the one who got her, Darby, in it. I'd like to be the one who gets her out. I understand that. My heart is still broken about not having my family, Caroline said. I'm the one who got her. Okay, sorry, you guys. Remarried now. I don't like how they didn't talk about the ex-husband. Isn't that a lot of the problem here? I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's getting to see her son, which she has a legal right to, by the way. Remarried now, Caroline attends St. Petersburg College, hoping to become an art teacher. That's good. It's fun creating a new life, she said. I just wish the ones I love more than anyone in the world could be part of it. The suppressive persons who spoke to the Times were declared SPs because they publicly and repeatedly challenged the church. Cult. They also face the cult's regimented internal justice system. I'm going to switch the word because I'm sick of hearing it. The process typically begins with a Scientologist writing a knowledge report. Yeah, like the little kids, the 4 and 5-year-olds in the cadet org and public, they write KRs too. Isn't that great? About another cult member outlining alleged transgressions. The accused may be directed to undergo ethics counseling, to include 4-year-olds, guys. Let's just get it straight. Or ordered to face a committee of evidence, including the 4-year-olds, guys. Unless it's a pedo, they don't get the committee of evidence ethics. They don't get that. Yeah, they don't get that. They'll put them in the RPF with other young boys so they can repeatedly R the children. Yeah, that's what the pedos get. A tribunal of cult staff members, probably all pedos, acting as jurors, probably pedos, determine if the person has committed suppressive acts. Suppressive acts must be renounced. What about being a pedo? Is that a suppressive act? Is being a pedo a suppressive act? Is drugging and R-ing a woman, is that suppressive too? Failing to comply carries heavy consequences, as Randy Payne discovered. For 2 decades, Payne, 53, was a dedicated Scientologist. See, that's where I get real weird, you guys. So he was okay for 20 years letting 13 and 14-year-olds audit him? For 2 decades, Payne, 53, was a dedicated Scientologist. There's that word again, dedicated. He and his wife published a Scientology newspaper in Clearwater. He paid tens of thousands of dollars for Scientology training. Did you get trained by 13-year-olds? I really want to know. Were you one of those sweaty middle-aged guys, balding, sitting there in a room with a 13-year-old girl, touching her body? I just really want to know that. He expanded his Clearwater private school. Oh, shit. Oh, you guys know. You guys know. He expanded his Clearwater private school lighthouse. You guys know what the light means, right? Just go look it up. Which incorporated L. Ron Hubbard's study techniques. Policies, too. And opened sister schools in Scientology's target markets of Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Italy. So basically, he was preying on children. I mean, it's not saying that it was for children. It might have been for adults. I'm not sure. So I'll give him a break. to use Hubbard's tech and materials. Payne agreed to pay 10% of his school's revenues. Somebody go look that up and see if the schools were for children. Because if they are, then F him. He paid the fee initially but stopped in 1997 because he said his curriculum had evolved to a point where Hubbard's techniques were used only marginally. Aw, damn. That sucks, huh? Whiny baby. The cult threatened to declare him an SP. Wonder why. You see, there's something left out here. It's the ultimate weapon for them because no one can talk to you, Payne said. He pleaded his case through 4 committees of evidence. 2 held in Clearwater, where all the children are. 2 in Los Angeles. He formally was declared a suppressive person on May 11th, 2003. The order said Payne spread false and derogatory statements to others about Scientology and cult staff. This is a long article. Scientology agents sought to cut off Payne's ties to the cult community. I'll bet he knew something. They always leave out something, don't they? A cult ethics officer. Was a cult ethics officer 15? Because a lot of the ethics officers are like 13 and 14. I really want to know, you guys. Told an employee, wait a minute, I thought it's a church. Employee, staff member, cult member at Payne's school that he needed to quit. According to a note the employee wrote, employee? Well, damn, Tampa Bay. Are they employees or church members? I'm confused. Church staffers informed Payne students who were Scientologists. I want the ages, you guys, because you know I'll frickin' lose my shit. That Payne had been declared and that they should leave the school, he said. This sounds like a money grab to me, guys. Sounds like a money grab. The suppressive person policy was used against him. No mention of saving the children, you notice this? Was used against him as a form of extortion. Payne said to get him to pay the fees. He wrote legislatures and met with law enforcement officials, asking they investigate his claim of extortion. Did he talk to the LAPD? One can only wonder, right? Last October, Payne made a more public protest that could happen only in Clearwater. During the opening moments of a Clearwater City Council meeting, when residents typically complain about parking problems and potholes. Cha-ching, cha-ching, you guys know. Payne stood and with TV cameras recording his every word, complained about the cult of Scientology. It is my belief that the church's leadership has created a corrupt internal justice system to enforce its money-making scheme on individuals and businesses. Isn't that something? Council members sat mute. Almost like LA's council commissions and public works. Almost like them, huh? Extreme, perhaps. Effective, definitely. That's the view of many religious scholars. Scholars? Who said they're a scholar? Who said they were a scholar? Did they just read a few books and now they're a scholar? Who say the motive behind Scientology's suppressive person doctrine is clear. Keep members from breaking ranks. What about the children? Does that include them? Since you haven't brought them up yet. Trust any of these fucking people. That's the way the church keeps discipline. Aw. What about at the cadet org? Is that the way it works in the cadet org? Or the Delphian school where all the children are, so many children are essayed? Where Wally Hanks worked? Just wondering. I think that's where Wally Hanks was. That's the way the church keeps discipline, said J. Gordon Melton, director of the Institute for the Study of American Religion. Oh, just in case you guys didn't know, it's a religion. A think tank in Santa Barbara, California, that focuses on smaller groups. For them, that's an internal control mechanism. Oh, does that go for the children too, you guys? Since you're not bringing up the children? Is that for the children too? Scientology's disconnection requirement is far more extreme than the severing practices of most modern religions. Oh, it's a religion, you guys, just so you guys know. Melton said, ooh. I just think it would be better for all concerned if they just let them go ahead and get out and everyone goes their own way. Oh, does that go for the children too, you guys? Just want to know, can the children go their own way too? And not make such a big deal of it, said Melton. The policy hurts everybody. Melton, does it hurt children too? Since nobody's bringing up the children, I just want to know. Church spokesman Shaw suggested the Times interview two other professors who have studied in Scientology's behalf in legal cases. Cha-ching, ching, ching. It is rather strict, said the first F.K. Flynn, adjunct professor of religious studies at Washington University in St. Louis. Who cares what these guys say? It also is characteristic of a young religion, he said. Ooh, young religion. Live in a sick world, you guys. It is rather strict, said the first F.K. Flynn. Okay, I already read that. It has to do with feeling threatened because you're not that big. Oh, really? Is that what it is? What about the children? Is it the same for them? You do everything you can to keep unity in the group. Oh, you guys mean the hive mind. No, that's the hive mind, you guys. That's how they control. Scientology is not as controlling. Oh, you guys know. You guys know. As were the early Christians, Flynn said. Please. Its SP practices are akin to the shunning of the Amish and Jehovah's Witnesses. Some Amish communities allow contact with close friends and families. Jehovah's Witnesses cut off all communication except in cases of family business or emergency. Well, why don't we ask former Jehovah's Witnesses instead of asking your expertise? The second expert, see you guys? The second expert. Shaw suggested Newton Maloney. No, you guys notice no women, of course, right? A professor at the Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California, characterized Scientology's disconnection policy as too extreme. That I agree with. Particularly as it affects families. That I agree. Some people I've talked to, they just wanted to go on with their lives. Does that include children? Can children go on with their lives too? And they wanted to be in touch with their daughter or son or parent. The shunning was just painful, and I don't know what it was accomplishing. And the very terms they use are scary, aren't they? Shaw says the church's policy is far from extreme. Oh, you guys know this dude's paid. Come on now. Oh, it just makes me sick. Shaw, why don't you just take your ass back to your little wherever you're from? Doesn't everyone distance themselves from negative influences? How much you get paid, Shaw? How much you get paid? I don't even want to read this frickin' fool's crap. Prisoners are disconnected from society, Shaw said. Oh, does that go for the children in the RPF too? Are the children in the RPF, are they prisoners too? Employees are fired. I don't even want to read this shit. This is getting me irritated. Okay, you guys, I'm so irritated with this dude, I'm not even going to read his crap. Because it's more propaganda. 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 More propaganda. Okay. Hubbard once wrote that SPs were fair game, meaning that they could be tricked, sued or lied to or destroyed. Hubbard canceled the fair game policy, which is a lie, by the way, policy in 1976, saying it was never intended to authorize illegal or harassment types against anyone. Church critics, however, remain wary. No, they know the truth. Stop lying. Potential trouble source. No Scientologist wants to be called that. PTSs can't take classes or get the spiritual counseling called auditing. Oh, but you could go, the rumor has it that some of these so-called Scientology critics give auditing. I've heard that Karen De La Carriere does auditing. I don't know whom else does. That's the word on the curb. Potential trouble source. No Scientologist wants to be called that. PTSs can't take classes or get the spiritual counseling called auditing. But if you maintain contact with a suppressive person, that's who you are. Boy, they got it all locked in, didn't they? That's all that compartmentalization, which goes all the way to mind control and Satanism and satanic ritual abuse. It's all from that. 2 recorded messages left last year on the answering machine of Creed Pearson illustrate just how serious this can be. The caller, Scientologist Kathy Feshbach, major contributor and founder of a Scientology mission in Bel Air. That means you got. That's what you did. You got, Kathy. The first call was placed on March 2nd. Hi, this is Kathy Fashbach. George Mariani is running for mayor again in Bel Air. Oh, isn't that perfect? Called us, wants us to have all our friends over on Sunday. I thought you can't mix religion with state, right? Friends over on Sunday at our house at 4 for him to talk. It's really important because, number one, he is reaching for us, the Scientologists. So that's really a good indicator. So I really want to have a big showing for him. So anyway, it's a big deal that the mayor called us. So I really want you guys to come over. Isn't that great, you guys? I wonder how much Mariani was getting from them. What Feshbach did not know was that Pearson, a Scientologist for 25 years, I don't trust people that have been in that long, and big church donor, has been declared a suppressive person the previous month. Did you stand up for our children being SA'd, Karen? Inquiring minds want to know. Pearson 50 said, oh, it's a guy. Oh, this is a different dude, I'm sorry. Pearson 50 said he was declared because he told his friends in Scientology that the religion was being altered by current management. It's always the same narrative, you guys. You see? So they're upset with Miscavige, but they're not upset with anything else. He said L. Ron Hubbard had lied while ticking off his accomplishments during a speech. True narcissist. 4 days later, Feshbach called Pearson back and left a second message. It was clear she had learned he was a suppressive. Hi, Creed. This is Kathy Feshbach. Sunday morning, I just heard that you were under some kind of ethics cycle. So you are not invited to our house today. I am sure you understand, so thank you very much for understanding. Please do not attend the event. I would have just done it just to start something. Thank you very much for understanding. I mean, how is that for mind control? So there's no loyalty. I know, I get it, a lot of them, they just go along with it because then they know they're going to get cut off from everyone. So children are just property in Scientology. As the community of Scientologists has grown to an estimated 10,000, more propaganda. In the Tampa Bay area, so too has the number of declared SPs increased, according to church officials and former members. Okay, anything that Shaw says, I'm passing, because it's so obvious he's like a propagandist. Okay, thousands of SP declare files are kept at the church's administrative headquarters in California, said Astor Woodcraft. To me, Astor Woodcraft is trustworthy, who worked there for 3 years, ending in 1998. She left when I believe she was a child. Now she is in those files herself. The Woodcrafts are a family divided. The mother, a son, and a grandmother are Scientologists. So essentially they're kind of abusers, right? In a way. The father and 2 daughters left. The 2 sides do not speak. Raised with her brother and sister in Scientology, Astor Woodcraft spent 2 years in Clearwater as a teen. 2 years in Clearwater as a teen. Clearwater PD is okay with that. Living in a church-owned motel. Listen to that. Living in a church-owned motel. More teenagers in a hotels. Wonder if she had to give massages. On US 19 and serving as a Scientologist cadet. There you go. Take that, Brisker. Scumbag. Her family later moved to Los Angeles, and at 14, she joined the Sea Org. LAPD's all right with that. The Legion of church staffers who dedicate their lives to church service. Woodcraft was assigned to the ethics security team. I just told you guys. Woodcraft was assigned to the ethics security team. So the guy we were listening to earlier, who was having an ethics officer talk to him, was probably talking to a child. They're all okay with it, though, which tried to keep people from leaving Scientology. Her husband wrote her from Los Angeles. What? Wait a minute. They skipped something there. Was she another child bride? Something got skipped there, you guys. Her husband wrote her from Los Angeles. Yeah, they did skip something. What really will happen if you decide not to come back and get declared? I will have to disconnect from you, and so will the rest of your family. Your mom, your dad, grandpa, Matt, and Zoe. Or you come back and standardly handle the situation with whatever decision you have made. Boy, did they leave out a lot there, you guys. I bet she got married as a minor, too. You see? Shit is sick. Woodcraft, pregnant, filed her for divorce. She was 20. See, you guys know all these newspaper articles, like a legal team goes through it first. You know that, right? She returned to the church in LA in April 1998 and did her sec checks. It took a month. She signed a document admitting to trying marijuana at age 13 and once stealing a pair of pantyhose. Oh, that might be because her parents weren't around and she was only getting like $40 a week or something like that. Or it was less back then. Then she left Scientology, hit with a freeloader's bill. They all do this. All this enslavement, they all have this, that you owe them. That the child traffickers, the sex traffickers, they all do the same thing. Sea Org staffers get Scientology courses in auditing for free. Oh, nothing's free, you guys. Believe and you are billed retroactively. She refused to pay. Which by law, if any Scientologist is listening to, by law they can't force you to pay that. Later, Woodcraft's younger sister, Younger sister, then 15, 15, 15. Wonder if she was essayed as well. Because Astor Woodcraft was, of course, right? Because that's what they do there. She was in the cadet org, living with her mother, then a church staffer in Clearwater. She called her father, who had been declared an SP earlier. He picked her up at the Clearwater Library and spirited her away. That's good. Shaw can kiss my behind. I'm not reading any of this crap that he's freaking spewing. While not happy about it, I could have accepted her Astra's decision to leave church staff, Leslie Woodcraft wrote. But what is very, very upsetting is that she reverted to her old dishonest ways. How's that for propaganda, you guys? That's the mother. I guess Leslie didn't get the memo that as a mother, you are supposed to take care of your children. Astra became a puppet of vested interest, and her story lies in false accusations, really. Leslie stated, likely made a way to seek attention. The fact that these newspapers even give these people a license to spew their propaganda, it's just so obvious, you guys. There's no way that the people at these newspapers don't know what's going on. And maybe they're up against a lot. I don't know. At least they're getting some of it out. The letter ended, still I have not given up hope that one day Astra will realize that she made a decision. Yeah, because you know what? Making a decision is legal, guys. It's freedom. It's called freedom. As final as it may appear to her now, can be reverted. Well, you know what? You as a mother, can revert your decision as well. Astra says she left not hating Scientology. That was probably a year after. But the churches, in case you guys didn't know it's a church, but the church's reaction left her wanting nothing to do with it. The hardest thing for me is explaining to my daughter why she can't see her dad, who did not contest Astra getting sole custody. I don't want him to see her. I don't want Scientology to touch her in any form. Good. See, you guys, that's what a mother that loves their child will do. But she wishes she could speak to her brother and mother and grandmother, all of whom remain Scientologists. I think a lot of times we should just interchange Scientologists with mind control, all of whom remain mind controlled. I really love my mom and I miss her a lot, Astra said. I would love for her to see my daughter. Robert Farley can be reached at farley@sptimes.com or 727-445-4159. Okay, just to be sarcastic, you guys, I'm going to replace Scientology with mind control. Mind control at a glance. L. Ron Hubbard wrote, Dianetics, the modern science, which is a lie, of mental health in 1950. 4 years later, a group of Scientologists, mind-controlled, opened the first church of Scientology in Los Angeles until his death in 1986. You know, 86 is the number for death, too. Hubbard remained the church leader and voluminously laid out church policies and practices, including the suppressive person and disconnection policies. In the 1950s, Hubbard and others established the church's worldwide spiritual headquarters in Clearwater. In 1975, the business Listen to that. The business and administrative headquarters is in Los Angeles. Wonder if it's close to LAPD's headquarters. Glossary. Well, that's good that they're given this. Here is how mind-controlled Scientology defines some of the terms used in this story. Suppress a person. Those who are destructively antisocial. A person who possesses a distinct set of characteristics and mental attitudes that cause him to suppress other people at his vicinity, or one who actively seeks to suppress or damage mind-controlled Scientology or a mind-controlled Scientologist. That includes children, you guys. Because, it's okay to abuse children in our societies. Disconnection. A self-determined, that's the first lie. A self-determined decision, another lie, made by an individual, another lie, that he is not going to be connected to another. It is a severing of a communication line. No, none of them use communication lines. Auditing Scientology mind control counseling, which helps an individual look at his existence and improves his ability to confront what he is and where he is. Potential trouble source. A person who is in some way connected to and being adversely affected by a suppressive person. You see how they create the web, you guys? So-called because he can be a lot of trouble to himself and to others. Sources. Introduction to Scientology Ethics and What is Scientology? Okay, that's it, you guys. That was long. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.